We tried to approach this from a purely problem-led way. What's the best way to wind down, or how might we solve the problem of getting people to calm down at night? I'm not sure we would have come up with this. We came up with this by prototyping and brainstorming and going broad and getting tangible really quickly. So take hikes, not just sprints. Some takeaways to take back. Carve out time, at least once a quarter, to go out really broad. Don't just think about ideas. Really believe tangibility breeds creativity, and that especially wild ideas really won't get built unless they're tangible. And then third, have fun. Fun typically correlates with good. When people are impassioned and like working overtime to do unsanctioned work, that's a really good sign that something in there is good. Third way, model cultural listening. So the idea here is that inspiration comes from listening to culture and constantly looking around, looking much broader than your competitors. At Casper, we do not just look at mattress companies to figure out what to do. We don't even just look at retail companies to figure out what to do. We look broader than that for any inspiration in any corners of the world. And where this comes from most, I would say, is from leadership. It comes from leaders who do this. And I can't emphasize how important it is for team leads to model this behavior. I'll give you a couple examples. One of my favorites is our design director, Joe Smith, who sends a weekly wrap-up every week to the digital team that summarizes what the team did, of course, that week, what he did that week. But it includes a section solely dedicated to inspiration. It's called Bits and Bobs. And in it, he collates 5 to 15 articles, videos, publications that he's read over the week for other people to read. And they're super broad and don't have to do necessarily with mattresses. Actually, they almost never have to do with mattresses or sleep products. But they're inspirational for him and therefore inspirational for other people. And I look forward to this every week. And I guarantee you every single person on the team does too. Another example of this is our environments design director, who leads the design of our retail experience. He takes his team on inspiration tours at least twice a quarter to go visit physically different experiences that he thinks would be inspiring. Again, some of them are retail stores, but many of them are not. He'll go to the MoMA for an exhibit that's loosely related to light, and that will inspire how we might merchandise, express lighting concepts in our stores. And directly after that, they often go into prototyping. So they'll come back from a retail tour and retail inspiration tour and then directly start building based on what they saw. So modeling cultural listening is about encouraging dialogue about what's happening outside of tech. As we know, tech can easily become a bubble. It's really important to stay beyond that, to understand what's happening with culture at large so that we can respond to it. Secondly, make it safe to share anything. Nothing is irrelevant. Super important in creating a culture of inspiration sharing is to make it okay for anyone to share anything that inspires them. And then third, hire cultural listeners. It's not actually universal, this orientation and skill set, from what I've experienced. Some people have it to an extreme. They have a voracious curiosity for learning and gathering, bringing that inside of a company's walls and sharing it. So it's really a lens that you could take when you're building your teams to make sure that someone is bringing that skill set and orientation. So that's how to build a brand that counts, by nurturing creativity. Last thing I want to talk about is why. Why do we do this? Why does it even matter? Why does brand matter? And the best example for us is the biggest problem that Casper is trying to solve, which is sleep. Sleep is a massive problem. It's a global problem. 84% of people got 7 or more hours of sleep in 1942, compared to 65% of people who get that much sleep today. That means that we're sleeping less relative to, by the way, like a wartime period than we did before. And thirdly, 38%, only 38% of people say they get enough sleep each night, which means that the majority of people, 62% of people, human beings, not Americans, the human species, feels sleep is a problem. So this is a gigantic problem that's existed for a long time. But it's also a cultural problem, like many big problems. It's not just technical and scientific. It's not just a business problem. It's a highly emotional one. Today, sleep is stressful. There are 100 things that you're told you should or shouldn't do. Don't drink before bed, always go to sleep at the same time, maintain a nightly regimen, don't nap for too long, do nap when you need it. It's guilt-ridden, lecturing, dry, scientific. No one wants to engage in it because it carries this tonality. So it's no wonder that people don't invest in it, time or money. So why does brand matter? Because there are plenty of companies in the sleep space, actually, that have developed products that solve a very specific sleep need. And yet, this entire time, the behavior and culture around sleep hasn't changed. So to shift sleep as a problem, we need a transformative brand, not just a functional solution. For us, we need to figure out how to get people to want sleep, not just need it. So we're doing this through technical innovation. We use a user-centered process religiously out of our San Francisco office to develop our physical products. We have engineers, designers, user researchers feeding into our physical product development. But we're also doing this through joy and wonder and humanity and zing. And we leverage creative inspiration through every part of our process to express these values provocatively in things like our retail experience. These are our new birdhouses. Or our voice, because everyone's looking for love, but fresh sheets are nice too. Or our products, like Glow. If you buy Glow, which you should, you'll notice that every interaction, every gesture was designed to evoke joy and wonder. And it's been designed to be so intuitive that they're human. Anyone can use them, even a child. We're doing this in our digital apps and experiences, using things like motion design to convey simplicity, joy, zing. And we're doing this in our service experiences. This is the Dreamery, a nap bar that we opened in NoHo next to our first permanent store, where you can book 45-minute naps in a perfect sleep environment on a Casper bed and bedding. The good news is that this is working. The conversation around sleep is shifting. We believe we are steadily inspiring behavior change by making sleep enjoyable. Because it's not just enough, again, for sleep to be important, it has to be magnetic. And that requires both data-driven process as well as creative inspiration. So, in summary, by having a distinct personality and set of values, by leveraging creative inspiration to express them in every touch point as provocatively as possible, I believe that we, collectively, will rise above the blanding, will create higher level emotional connection with customers, and ultimately create transformative brands that make impact at scale. That's all I've got. Thanks.